Şimdi ise sanat ve estetiği derinlemesine ele alacak sunumlarımıza geçiyoruz. İlk sunumumuz sanat ve estetiğin temel kavramlarını ele alıyor. Çok değerli bir çalışma. Sayın Doktor Ali Karatay'ı Elmas Kılıç'tan Kalbin Zümrüt Tepelerine sanat ve estetik başlıklı sunumu
Your
için
thanks person who
sahneye
conference and
davet
hosting
ediyorum.
the next time to
Fakat
report your
önce
response to
isterseniz
the festival. Thank you.
biraz
So we're really
dinleyelim.
not to report
Ali
today with the
Karatay
branch. Thank you.
2020'de 9
Now we're moving on
Ağustos'ta
to the
Sosyal
presentation of the
Sanatlar
Simple
Eğitim
Fest Art
Bölümünde mezun
Aesthetics.
oldu.
First
Ardından
presentation
da
address.
grafik tasarım,
Basic concept of the art and
çizim
aesthetics.
ve
Value
animasyon
innovative work by
felsefesini
Dr.
ele aldı.
Alatas in the
İlk
Divan
olarak
Coach.
İslam sanatları doktora çalışmalarına başlayan sanatçı, ardından Eğitim Bilimleri Enstitüsü'nde tasarım, animasyon, sinema ve beğeni üzerine ikinci doktora programına kabul edildi. 20 yıl boyunca tasarım, reklamcılık, kreatif yazarlık ve yönetmenlik yaptı ve ödüller kazandı. Şu anda University of California Davis'te sanat ve teknoloji, sanat terapi projelerinde görev almakta. International Erguvan Art and Academy'de uluslararası projeler geliştirmektedir. Merhabalar Ali Hocam. Buyurun lütfen.
Evet, teşekkür ederim. Allah razı olsun. Evet değerli arkadaşlar, hepiniz hoş geldiniz. Ben de öncelikle başta Süleyman hocamız olmak üzere Kerim hocama, Emine Eser hanımefendiye ve Çağrı Adil kardeşim başta olmak üzere bütün Respekt genç ekibine, Münisa Hanım'a ve Asiye Hanım'a ayrıca çok teşekkür ederim. Harika bir hazırlık, harika bir program. Konunun sanat olması ve sanatın tercih edilmesi de ayrıca bu açıdan benim size teşekkür etmemi bir borç haline getiriyor. Hepinize gerçekten çok teşekkür ederim. Hakkını verebileceğim bir sunum yapamayacağım için üzgünüm. Çok hazırlıklı değilim. Var olan müktesebatı aktarmaya çalışacağım bugün itibariyle. Daha yani dakikalar önce yoldan geldim. Bunun için de özür dileyerek başlıyorum. Keşke
Thank you all very much.
olabilseydim. Ama derdimiz bugünlük ya da dünlük bir
Really,
derdimiz olduğu
to all of
için
you. But I'm still not making presentation
bile
yet.
aktarsam biraz maksat hasıl olur diye düşünüyorum. Yani öncelikle
Just if you are not very prepared these days, I'm just curious for the punch we have today from the road. Apologize.
bence önemli bir yere bir mühür basmak gibi oldu. Ve ilk sanatla alakalı dersimizi de Respekt bünyesinde yapmış olduk bu sayede. O yüzden Respect'in pozisyonu itibariyle gelecekte de çok büyük misyonlar eda edeceğinin benim açımdan en azından subjektif olarak en büyük kanıtı diyebilirim. Önce bir düzeltmeyle başlamak istiyorum müsaade ederseniz. Biraz dağınık bir sunum olacak ama inşallah çoğunluğu genç olduğu için ya da hepsi genç olduğu için dinleyenlerin bence anlayacaktır herkes.
I'm start the direction if you allow me to read it, but I heard this then last.
Kavramı bizim netleştirmemiz lazım. Yani ben bugün Allah izin verirse genel Kur'ani bakış, tevhid ekseninde bakış, Risale-i Nur ekseninde bakıştan bahsedecek olsam da ana omurgamı oluşturan zat Hoca Efendi Hazretleri rahmetullahi aleyh. Dolayısıyla birazcık pırlantalar ekseninde bakacağım için değerlendirmem genel
Generally, the of the axis of the monotheist about.
I'm taking over the translation from Batan. Unfortunately, Batan had an issue with his mic. The speaker is Associate Professor Ali Karatay, and he apologized for lack of readiness for the presentation. By the way, a full-length article is already sent to your emails with the booklet of the presentation.
O nedenle İslam sanatı biraz böyle İslamlaşmış sanat ya da ehlileşmiş sanat, sanatın bizcesini birbirinden bu noktada ayırmak lazım. Bizim normalde ilk doktora...
Now he is saying that Islamic art and Islamicized art should be thought of as separate issues.
Ondan sonra doktora programı başladı.
When I studied art, I studied art under various classical Islamic arts like calligraphy, tazhib. So we didn't study on Islamic arts, on cinema, theater, music, and so on. Usually, from among Islamic arts education, people refer to Islamic Sufi music, but now the music as a whole should be an Islamicized art. We need also to be raising awareness. Dr. Süleyman Arish referred to the 8 Ali Karatay is referring to the list of the attributes of the inheritors of the earth written by Fethullah Gülen in 1994, and he says we need to think deeply on why artistic thought was mentioned as the last one, the 8th one and the last one of the attributes of the inheritors of the earth. He is going to refer to a quotation from Fethullah Gülen, and he's speaking about an article that was written about the holy duty written by Fethullah Gülen. He says today there is a work we need to do which is much valuable than the whole world, such a world that it is more important than being the biggest saint of the world, and that duty is to have people hear about the name and attributes of the Prophet Muhammad. So let us stop speaking about other things and let us find ways how we can present our religion to the people, to the peoples of the world. Men and women and children, we should be thinking about how we can actually raise awareness about our religion. And Hoca Efendi says, I can also suggest that at a time when everybody wants to be able to see the face of Allah in the hereafter, my friends should look at the issue even when everybody is running towards liqa'ullah, meeting with God in the paradise. Our friends in Hizmet movement should say, oh my Lord, give me a few more minutes so that I can help save other people. So today we are going to be speaking on art, but even when we are speaking art, our very first duty is to realize that art is also a tool, a means for this ultimate duty. Now another topic that we need to discuss, whether everything is an art or not.
Acaba zihinler, Münisa Hanım'ın biraz önce sunduğu anketteki o yüzdelik dilimin durumu fark ettiğinde, biraz daha farklı hale geldiğinde ortaya koyacağımız şeyler mi aslında?
I was looking at the presentation by Munisa today.
The language and presenting the work of art the same thing. We should also address this. In other words, that we will make a work of art.
But we need to ask today to ourselves, what is really art? Is art
when it becomes a little different,
is art just producing artistic products, or can looking at the universe with an artistic eye to the art of creation, can this also be discussed within the framework of art? Now, these were all introductory words. Now, soon I am going to pass to the main body of my presentation. At the article that Hoca Efendi mentions the attributes of
I'll start my presentation. I'll continue very
of the
quickly.
inheritors of the world.
Hocam
Now I'm going to read this passage.
paylaşacak mısınız? Öyleyse biz
Paylaşacağım. Paylaşacağım. Şimdilerde muğlak ve israf
So I see Betul intervened. If the
büyük yankıları olacağına inandığım riyazi düşüncenin de küçük bir hülasasını verdikten sonra sanat düşüncemizi
so he's reading from an article from 1994.
Again, in the case
It
related to art,
says
my teacher
after
explained this, so
mentioning
really
the
violent.
seventh
I told you that to give a small amount
attribute
finance
of the
to Niyazi Dalga, which
inheritors,
I
this
agree
is
with. I have
mathematical
repercussions. It's
thinking.
necessary to
We
remind
should
everybody.
have
Art is divided into eight qualities.
spoken about the eighth attribute, the artistic thought, but since our
hocamızın belki bu anlamda
friends or audience at that stage is not ready to speak about this topic, we are going to wait for a future generation to open this issue. And Ali Karatay suggests that the very fact that this Divan was convened suggests that there is a certain level of readiness to speak about art issues.
bu da aslında bu işin bir şekilde
Of course, we need to ask ourselves whether we were the people who delayed the writing of the eighth attribute as art. Could I have been that one, or can I change things in
Small
this
amounts of
world?
finance. Yes, which
Now,
I
today
believe
I
it's necessary to
started
remind yourself of the artistic
to
was a
write an
qualification.
article. Of
In other
course,
words,
the title
here
of the
we can pull
article was
ourselves as we have
quite
fulfilled the request of our teacher who guided us to some extent. These are some circles we
you
really could
know,
not understand because we saw in
demanding.
the survey that these
It
qualities
says
change, but
arts and
we could not
aesthetics
understand
from
despite the teacher,
the
our teacher
diamond
leaving the subject off,
sword to the emerald hills of the heart.
we
The
could not
diamond
understand the
sword
despite the
refers
teacher leaving the
to
subject book and doing what
one work of
person of
Bediüzzaman
service.
Said
We're also saying, I
Nursi,
wonder, can I
and
be these
Emerald
sources?
Hills
Can
of
we be? This is actually a good
of
indicator
Heart
where
refers to a
we turn
book
into an
on
intensifier.
mysticism,
When turning
on
to an
tasawwuf
intense
by Fethullah Gülen. So, by and large, the presentation will be linking or bridging Said Nursi's understanding of art and Hoca Efendi's understanding of art. In
öyle bir şey ki uhuvvetin, kardeşliğin, tesanüdün birlikte hareket etmesi.
actually the biggest
Terbiyetten daha ziyade
indicator that work will quickly turn into an intensifier and it takes a spark and takes it away.
fırkateyninde bir çivi olmak. Yani küçücük tepecikler haline
We have
gelen
fulfilled requests of our
Okay.
teachers. He guided us to some extent.
The
We saw in the
presenter is
survey that
using
these words
metaphorical
change
language,
and
very
understand.
difficult to translate actually. Overall, he is suggesting that if we look at artistic thought as the amana given to human beings, it's not something easy to carry. So the presentation is largely what we can take from the epistles of light of Bediüzzaman Said Nursi and what we can take from the writings of Fethullah Gülen. Now I'm going to be dealing with Bediüzzaman Said Nursi's content. He is speaking in the Risale-i Nur on rhetoric and eloquence of language. Of course, he says we need to look at it from the perspective of our own day. When we look at our modern day, we should look at rhetoric and eloquence, not only from the classical art of eloquence, but from the perspective of media and so on. So when we look at the media, we do realize that we need to use the language, universal language of art in order to deliver or transfer the truth. Now, when Hoca Efendi refers to Bediüzzaman Said Nursi, he uses the term architect,
beyin yaklaşımının
mental
beyin
architect,
olduğunu
or thought architect. The term architect is actually referring to an artistic understanding.
her meselemizde
So the idea to look at Bediüzzaman Said Nursi as an architect of our thoughts suggests that the art does not necessarily need to be with any artwork. It's actually any kind of thinking can be done artistically.
Üstad Hazretleri'nin ismiyle alakalı bir önceki sunumunda, yine Respekt bünyesinde yaptığımız bir önceki sunumunda sormuştum. Bediüzzaman, Bediüzzaman zamanın harikası diye geçiyor. Ama derin manasıyla
He is reminding that one pseudonym of Said Nursi was Bediüzzaman, the best, the most beautiful, the beauty of his time. So the fact that in Arabic Bedi means beautiful, and Bediüzzaman, the beauty of his time, became the pseudonym of Bediüzzaman Said Nursi, is meaningful, he says.
tamamen sanat tasavvuru yani baktığımız zaman. Yani bu yolculukta, bu arayışta benim sanata dair henüz tam
Now, in this
ve bu konuda da daha çok yolumuzun olduğu
travel, there are issues that I don't feel yet adequate to speak about. This topic we need to work more. When we look at the art as a general, not necessarily Muslims in art,
yani bu meselenin önemlilik, gereklilik ve zorunluluk. Yağmur tanelerinin çıkarttığı seslerle alakalı
we are
üstadımızın yazdığını hatırlarsınız yani. O zemzemeleri
usually we do not realize the importance, the necessity, and
o aliterasyonun, o ses
and obligatoriness of the art. I'm going to remind you how Bediüzzaman Said Nursi listens to the drops of the rain and speaks about art as rain as an amazing work of art.
Rabbimizin bize bahşettiği sanat eserlerinin hepsi bizim için aynı zamanda zaruri. Bunları oluşturan şey
So interestingly, he says the artwork, whenever there is more art in creation, those things are usually compulsory for us. Like water is compulsory for life, and we see more art in water and the rain coming down of the water.
hem sanatla alakalı mevzuya bir zaruret nazarıyla bakmamız, aynı zamanda sanatın
So we should, from here on, we should look at the issue of art as a compulsory thing, and we should also try raising awareness among the public that they should look at art as compulsory. When we look at more art in the creation, there is a optimum use, efficient use of things. Let us look at rain, for example. Nothing is wasted. Nothing goes to nothingness. There is an amazing cycle of recycling there, so that the water is never lost. So we, as the artists or people who are thinking about art issues, we should look at the Quran, who is inviting us to look at the creation and regard our duty to analyze the works of art in the creation. And we have to mimic, if possible, in our own art, our Lord. If our Lord is doing art without any waste, our own art should be also unwasteful. So he rushed to another presentation. I'm not sure how he is going to spare his. So he's taking something from Risale-i Nur and he's reading from the Risale-i Nur in order an aesthetic lifestyle to be established. There is an importance for both perception, mind, and faith elements. And he is from the Damascus sermon, he read a piece about human will, and he suggests once again from the words that the real development, improvement, advancement can only be when all subtleties of human beings are all united. Now he was advised to turn back to his own presentation, and he says that this is a very wide topic, so it is almost impossible. So let me turn back to my presentation. He's going to tell us one of his own life experiences when he started reading the episodes of Light in Turgutlu for the first time. In the very first days, we were not giving people Risale-i Nur directly, of course. So I had two friends who were artists also, but instead of giving them the Risale, I suggested them that there are amazing stories here, and maybe you can make drawings about these stories, and you can earn some money by this. And they were in need of money, of course. So I told them, you don't need to read the whole thing, just read the metaphors and the similes that are in the Risale-i Nur, and they were preparing drawings and cartoons about this. Once one of them invited me to their house. And one of them invited me. He said, this booklet you gave us, I am reading and I can see that this man is telling amazing stories, but for the time being we are doing only some cartoon drawings. Well, this is not enough. We need to go to other forms of arts like cinema and theater and literature and so on. Look, and he refers to a particular line in the Risale-i Nur where Said Nursi says, if you want to understand this, look at this story and listen to this story. And if he wanted this only to be a cartoon book, he would say, look only, not listen. So if there is, or he could say, read and understand. He didn't say that. So he wanted us to visualize the whole story. So we need to utilize other forms of art. He also refers that the members of the Hizmet movement are passing through difficult times and coming out of a trauma because of the persecution back in Turkey. And in such times of trauma, we need art and artists in order to lead the way to out of this traumatic experience. He is thanking to the participants. We are hoping that he is going to he is thanking to other presenters that he has read their articles and so